We left off talking about how I was raised in Cincinnati with siblings, a younger brother, younger sister, and we lived in Blue Ash, which is at the time not the rich Blue Ash that everybody knows now. We lived in a Blue Ash pre-millionaire infested Blue Ash, and I went to the Sycamore Township schools. My best friend lived next door to me, and we've been talking about how that experiences in your life shape you, help to make you become who you are and what you are. We talked about how that my maternal grandfather lived on the right side as you walked out the front door, walked around the corner to Conklin Avenue. My grandfather and grandmother Lunsford lived there, and I'd walk up there and be with them. And we talked a lot about good times last week. I'm going to talk about some things that weren't so good living my childhood. A lot of people have stuff like that. Some things, you get through them, they shape your life, you get bitter or you get better. I'm glad to say that during a lot of those times in my life, I've gotten better, although there were a few times I thought bitter was going to win handily, but didn't happen, and I can thank God for that overall, but also the people who speak into my life and have spoken into my life. I would walk to school as well as my brother. My sister didn't go to school up there, and my brother was 3 years younger than me. So I mentioned a few podcasts back that I look back and I realized why I got beat up a lot as a kid. My mother, and it wasn't solely for this, I can chuckle at this a little bit. My mother dressed me like Jimi Hendrix, but now you got to get this. My mother was not a Jimi Hendrix fan, but she loved the clothes, and I got to be quite honest with you. I mean, they were some cool clothes, and I've got pictures of. You don't have to take my word for this. I could show you the pictures. I probably put some of them up on the website. Oh, by the way, the website is realgarytussey.com. You can leave messages there, and you can check the message board out and all that, and some real fancy product available for you. And you can also email us at realgarytussey@gmail.com. You can email us on the website. Not everyone has a real easy time doing that, but I shouldn't be a problem, really. We've got a wonderful website host, which we'll mention sometime in the future on this podcast once they help pay the bills, and we'll talk all about them. So in the meantime, realgarytussey.com is our website, and realgarytussey@gmail.com. Give me a shout out, and you got questions or comments. I know I'm probably saying some things that relate to many people, and that's why you're still listening. So I walked to school, and we got away with things that you just are unheard of to get away with now in society, namely walk to school unaccompanied at a very young age. Times were not so dangerous, I suppose, but I would walk 1, 2, 3 blocks away to Blue Ash Elementary School as a little kid and a small child, and I would get beat up a lot. I mean, I was meek and mild. I wasn't a fighter. I was a lover, but I don't know why. I would just get beat up a lot. But looking back, I realized you got to remember I wore the Jimi Hendrix bell-bottoms, the white bell-bottoms with black paisley. I'm drawing this on my little page. You can see I'm kind of doodling here. You can see it on the. Here's what I do. Everybody looking on the Real Cam. Our cameras are called Real Cams, and we videotape this. We video record while we're doing this, and this will be aired on video blogs and all that. But yeah, I doodle the whole time we're talking here like this. But I wore the Jimi Hendrix. I'm going to say this. Good, bad, or indifferent. I wore the Jimi Hendrix clothes. Mom was not a Jimi Hendrix fan. Of course, now I'm a guitar player. But I had those pants, the white pants with black paisley. Then I had the silk shirts, and this wild silk shirts with paisley. I wore a dickie. Sometimes I wore a choker. I mean, what? Are you kidding me? That's how I dressed. But then, now think about this. And among the shoes I would wear, I had a pair of black, just lace-up shoes. But get this. Not only did I have a pair of black lace-up shoes, I had penny loafers. And I look back and I think, no wonder I got beat up all the time. And I just didn't care to fight. Fighting. I'd rather play guitar and explore the music and all that. I never did fight. That changed later in life. We'll talk about that sometime. But man, I would get beat up a lot. Now, it wasn't enough. If it wasn't enough, I would wear the bell-bottom pants with white bell-bottom pants with the black paisley, and then the shiny shirt and a dickie or a choker, and the penny loafer shoes. If that wasn't enough, I carried my books to school in a briefcase. No wonder I got beat up. I mean, talk about bullying. I mean, word. That was some serious bullying. I got through it. I don't know. I just didn't fight back. I'll tell you something else. It'd be probably for another podcast. I was scared out of my skin of girls. Girls just scared me. I mean, I couldn't even talk around girls. Now, I had crushes on girls. Susie Pickett, I had a crush on her. Laura Pyburn, I had a crush on her. Annette Pop, I had a crush on her. These are all Cincinnati girls, but we were all babies, okay? We were all babies. I had crushes on them. I had a crush on Pam. I didn't get her last name. I have to tell you the story on that one, but I was petrified of girls. So I don't know. I don't know why. But anyway, I'd walk to school every day. And because my brother was 3 years younger than me, I rarely walked to school with him. I don't remember walking to school with him. I mostly walked to school alone, and I don't know if that's why I would get beat up a lot. I don't know why. I don't know. Other than what I've been telling you about, I don't know. But there you go. And of course, sometimes I do remember this. Whenever I'd carry a guitar to school, I didn't get beat up. So I don't know. Maybe it matched the apparel and all that too. And I wasn't a good guitar player when I was a baby, but I did love playing, and what little bit I could play. I'll tell you that story another time too. But I would walk to school. It was 3 blocks to school, and I would often walk down the railroad tracks to school there in Blue Ash. Blue Ash Elementary is not there anymore, but I went there for 5 years, first grade through 5th grade, and then 6th grade went to Sycamore Middle School, and that's another story. But that was walking down the railroad track, same railroad track, different direction, and that was about twice as far to the middle school when I would walk there. Things that you just, today in today's society, just basically unheard of. When I walk home, the railroad tracks went behind Grandma and Grandpa Lunsford's house, and the street, Conklin Road, went in front of their house. So sometimes I would walk the railroad tracks behind their house and then stop in and see them and come in the back door. And when I would do that, we had a little dog. Actually, they had a dog. I don't know what we called a Yorkshire, really small dog. And I love that dog. His name was Bojo, and he was always in the backyard. He was always on a leash. They didn't have a fence, but he was happy. He was happy in the house. He was happy on the leash in the back. And I would always walk home, and I would pet Bojo, and then come in, and Grandma and Grandpa. I always sat there with them a few minutes. I mean, we're talking almost every day of my life on the walk home. This is Grandma and Grandpa, my maternal grandparents. And so I'm walking home one day, and I come, this day was one of the days that I did walk the railroad track instead of walking the street. When I walked down the street, I would come in the front door and then walk all the way through the house, and then go out the back door and go pet Bojo. As a matter of fact, that is how it happened on this particular day. I told you today I'm sharing things that aren't so pleasant memories. So I walked home from school down the street, Conklin Road, and I walked into my Grandma and Grandpa's front door. And Grandma said, you're going to go in the back, and Bojo wants to see you. So that's the beautiful little dog. And so I went back, and I went to pet Bojo, and Bojo was laying on the ground facing the back door and on his leash. And I go and I pet Bojo. He doesn't move. He doesn't bark. He doesn't say anything, and I'm a youngster. So I walk back in the house and I say, Grandma, something's wrong with Bojo. He won't even move. So I walk back out with Grandpa, and Grandpa goes and examines and says, go back inside. And he took care of it. He came back in and told me, and he told me more than I needed to know. He told me Bojo's dead, and he could have stopped right there, but he didn't. He went on and said, Bojo's dead. Somebody slit his throat. So that was one of my not so good memories that, you probably wish you could forget those, but we don't forget them. And I'm sure people have had, greater loss than that. But for a 6-7-year-old child, let's see, by that time, I may have been 8 or 9. By that time, 8 or 9-year-old child, that's pretty big. That's pretty big deal. So broke my heart. I can't tell you. I can't tell you. So that was some pretty bad stuff. So that was the first real experience I had with somebody dying in my life. And you know what? Until I'm saying this on this podcast, I probably never realized it or would have realized that. Probably prepared me for some other loss that I was about to experience. And again, this is not a bummer. It's a fabric of life. Life's like a tapestry. And if you take just part of the tapestry of your life and pull it out, the tapestry with that thread missing looks very incomplete. So other aspects of life, it was after that I lost my best friend to cancer a few years later. We were both kids, but he got leukemia and he was gone. I'm going to talk more about that later too. But I tell you, these things happen, and heaven is bigger, and